what is time, he said, I know
Welcome,
what it
welcome,
is, but
welcome,
when you
welcome,
ask
welcome.
me, I don't. And yet it seems absolutely fundamental to our life. Time is money, we say. I don't have enough time. Time flies. Time drags. And I think we should go into the question of what this is, because in our ordinary common sense, we think of time as a one-way motion from the past through the present and on into the future. And that carries along with it another impression, which is to say that life moves from the past to the future in such a way that what happens now and what will happen is always the result of what has happened in the past. In other words, we seem to be driven along.
Do you guys know what is he talking about?
It was fashionable in psychology for people to speak of man's and animals' instincts. That we have, for example, an instinct for survival, an instinct to make love, and so on. But nowadays that word has become unfashionable, and psychologists tend instead to use the word drives and to speak of the need for food as a drive, the need for survival or for sex as drives. And that's a very significant word because it's brought out, isn't it, by people who feel driven. Now, I must say personally, if I feel hungry, I don't feel driven. Also, if I feel lusty, I don't feel driven. Because I don't say, oh, excuse me that I have to eat, or excuse me that I need to fulfill my sexual urges, my biological impulses. I say, hooray, I identify myself with my drives. They're me. And I don't take a passive attitude towards them and apologize for it. So the whole idea of our being driven is connected with the idea of causality, of life moving under the power of the past. And that is so ingrained in our common sense that it's very difficult to get rid of it. Because I want to turn the thing round completely the other way and say that the past is the result of the present. Let us suppose, just for the sake of example, that this universe started with a big bang, as some cosmologists believe. Now, when that bang happened, it was the present, wasn't it? And so the universe began in what we will call a now moment. Then it goes on doing this stuff. And always, when any event that we now call past came into being in the present and out of the present. That's one way of seeing it. But before we get further involved in this, I want to draw your attention to a fallacy in the very common sense idea of causality. That events are caused by previous events, from which they flow or result necessarily. To understand the fallacy of that idea, we have to begin by asking, what do you mean by an event? Let's take the event of a human being coming into the world. Now, when does that event begin? Does it occur at the moment of parturition, when the baby actually comes out of its mother? Or does the baby begin at the moment of conception? Or does the baby begin when it was an evil gleam in its father's eye? Or does a baby begin when the spermatozoa are generated in the father or the ovum in the mother? Or could you say a baby begins when its father is born or when its mother is born? All these things can be thought of as beginnings. But we decide, for purposes of legal registration, that a life begins at the moment of parturition. And that is a purely arbitrary decision. And it has validity only because we all agree about it. Let me show you the same phenomenon in the dimension of space instead of the dimension of time. Let's ask, how big is the sun? Are we going to define the sun as limited by the extent of its fire? That's one possible definition. But we could equally well define the sphere of the sun by the extent of its heat. We could also define the sphere of the sun by the extent of its light. And each of these would be reasonable choices, except that it's rather difficult to keep track of the extent of its light, because we're inside it. And therefore we have arbitrarily agreed to define the sun by the limit of its visible fire. But you will see in all these, by these analogies, that how big a thing is, or how long an event is simply a matter of definition. Now therefore, when by simple definition, for purposes of discussion, we have divided events into certain periods, we'll say the First World War began in 1914 and it ended in 1918. Now actually, all those things which led up to the First World War started long before 1914, and the repercussions of that war have continued long beyond 1918. How are we to distinguish an event from its repercussions? So you will see that because we have divided events from one another in this arbitrary way, we do that, and then we sort of forget we did it. And then we have a puzzle. How do events lead to each other? Because you see, in reality, there are no separate events. Life moves along like water. And it's all connected as the source of the river is connected to the mouth and to the ocean. And all the events or things going on are like whirlpools in the street. Because you go there today and you see a whirlpool. You go there tomorrow and you see a whirlpool. But it isn't the same whirlpool because all the water is changing every second. What is happening is not really what we should call a whirlpool, but rather a whirlpooling. It is an activity, not a thing. And indeed, every so-called thing can be called an event. We call, say, a house, housing. We call a mat, matting. And we could equally call a cat a catting. So we could say the catting sat on the matting. And we would thereby have a world in which there were no things but only events. To give another illustration, a flame is something we say, there is a flame on the candle. But it would be more...
Yes, let me finish my shit so I can talk about the event. This one actually doesn't need a... This one doesn't need a iron. That needs to be iron. This shit is actually... Yeah. Boom. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. How to memorize it?
Here, and today I'm going to teach you my perfect memory hack. In this hack, I'm going to show you how to memorize, in this one, up to 24 items in any order in just minutes. Now, this hack can be used to memorize an awful lot more than 24. In fact, I once used it to help a high school student to memorize 200 definitions of government. And by the time we finished, it took me about 2 hours to go through the entire exercise for 200 items. But by the time we finished, she was able to recall all 200 items in order, forwards, backwards, and even sporadically. If I said, what was number 57, she'd tell me. What was number 123, she'd be able to tell me. So, I mean, it's a really amazing technique. So I'd like you to try it with me right now. We're going to memorize just 10 items at random because we're limited for time. And I want to show you how it works, how easy it will work for even you. And you'll be able to know these afterwards, forwards and backwards. Now, just so you know, if you want to remember a lot more, you want to memorize a lot more items, there are other techniques you can use. But we're going to be using the alphabet, which I'm going to use the first 10 letters, so A to J. But if you use all 24 letters, again, you have 24 items, or there's other ways of getting these standard points. That's what I'm using the alphabet for, so you can get as many items as you like. Now, the reason I'm using the alphabet is like creating file folders in your head. So just like a file cabinet, I'm going to show you how to file different things. So this is a great mind hack. Now, we use the alphabet because you know that. You can use numbers because you know the numbers. There are things that are always there that you'll remember without having to think too hard. You can use items in your house. Choose 5 items from each room in your house. So if you have 10 rooms, there's 50 file folders or 50 reference points you can use to memorize 50 different definitions. So you can use whatever you like. Before we go too far with this exercise, I'm going to give you all 10 items right now, and I want you to try to memorize them without using this exercise at all, because I want to have a point of reference at the end. So I'm going to give you all 10 definitions, and then I'm going to test you on them to see how many you can remember without using this exercise. Because you may get 4 or 5 of them now, and if you get 10 of them later, you'll see there's a big difference. Or some people only get 2 of them in the beginning, and they might remember 8 at the end. So I just want to do this as a point of reference. So, I'm going to tell them to you, but I'm going to have you write it down the second time. So here we go. The first one is teddy bear. Number 2 is desk. Number 3, microphone. 4, water bottle. 5, office chair. 6 is orange juice. 7, stapler. 8, trash can. 9 is computer. And 10 is pencil. Now get your piece of paper. I want you to write them down as I give you the numbers. I want to see how many you remember in what order. And I'll give you the order of the answers at the end so you can compare with both exercises, okay? So what's your first one? Don't worry if you don't get many right, because this is without doing the exercise. What was number 1? So write it down. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Getting a little tougher. Number 6. Don't worry if you don't remember them, or if you do, that's great. Number 7. Number 8. Number 9. And number 10. So look at what you did. If you want, you can put 40%, 20%, 100%, but put that paper somewhere else for this next exercise. Okay, as I'm doing the exercise, I don't want you to look at the answers. So put it upside down, be honest, so you don't see them, and get a different piece of paper for when I test you after the exercise. I don't want you to look at this, and so it doesn't taint your answers. And when you're all done, you can compare both, just trying to memorize it when I gave them to you, and after the exercise to see how you did. Okay, let's move on. So here's how it's going to work. Think of A through J. We're going to start with the letter A, and what I want you to do is I want you to think of an animal that starts with the letter A. I mean, I can tell you one, but I want you to try to think of it on your own. If you can't think of it, I'll give you an idea in a minute. But think of an animal, the first one that comes to mind with the letter A. Okay, if you haven't thought of one, alligator, I should have said animal, amphibian, so any kind of live, moving, squiggly, heart-beating thing. Okay, the letter B. What's an animal that starts with the letter B? That should be a simple one, so I'm not going to just tell you mine, so that way, if you do it on your own, rather than me telling you, it's going to come to your memory a lot easier later on. Now, these aren't the things we're memorizing. These are just the file folders we're setting up. Think of an animal that starts with the letter C. The letter D. Now, when you're doing these with someone else, you could even write these down so you remember as you go back through the list. You might even want to write them down for yourself. The letter E, that's still a pretty easy one. An animal that starts with the letter E. An animal that starts with the letter F. Think of an animal that starts with the letter G. That's still a pretty easy one, okay. One that starts with the letter H. An animal or a squiggly thing that starts with the letter I. And one that starts with the letter J. That might be a little bit more difficult one, but think of it, the letter J. Now, if you don't get them all right away, you can listen to this video and try it again later on, but I'm going to move on just so we can, keep up with the exercise. What I want to do is I want to go through them. Don't look at your paper if you wrote it down. I want to go through them. I'm going to say the letter, and you tell me the animal, okay? What was the one you chose for the letter A? The letter B. The letter C. They should be coming to you quicker and quicker. The letter D. E. F. G. What animal started with the letter H? I. And J. Now, if you got all 10 of those the second time, you've set up your file folders, okay? You have that in there, and that's what you need to be able to memorize other things. Now, I'm going to just use 10 things, but these file folders you're using right now, you can memorize 10 things today, 10 different things tomorrow, 10 different things as often as you like using the same file folders, okay? So we're going to do it just with these. Now, I'm going to come up with 10 things at random, and as I say each thing that I want you to memorize, what I want you to do is I want you to make a sentence or make a picture of the animal for that letter and the item I'm giving you, okay? So let me use an example not on this list so I don't mess you up. Let's choose the letter S as an example. So S, I would think snake. So that's my file folder. And let's say the word I wanted to use was magic marker. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, magic marker. So how do I memorize the word magic marker using the letter S? I could say something like, a snake was slithering on my desk. He came right beside my magic marker, and he looked at it and said, hey, why are you so stiff? Loosen up a bit. Okay, so it's a picture. It's kind of stupid, but you're going to remember it. Later on, when I say letter S, you're going to think snake. Why are you so stiff? Magic marker, Or you might look at it and say, so you're a magical snake, aren't you? magic marker. You see what I mean? So find something with the item that's kind of funny. And that's what we're going to do. So that's pretty simple. Let's go ahead and start out. So the letter A, it's going to be teddy bear. So whatever the animal was that started with an A, think of something funny, something cartoonish, something bigger than life having to do with a teddy bear. What would the letter A relate to a teddy bear with? Or what would he do or think of or whatever? So I'm going to give you a moment. A, your animal, make something funny, something cartoonish with a teddy bear. Letter B, think of your animal. You can just let go of A right now. Think of your animal for letter B. And the word you want to remember and put in a picture with them or a sentence with them is desk. A desk, like the one I'm sitting at right here. Great. Letter C, what was your animal for letter C? Microphone. Put him with a microphone. What would that be like? Make it a funny picture, but something that's really normal or ordinary, it's going to be hard to remember. Something that's funny or outlandish will be easier to remember. The letter D, what was your animal for the letter D? And the word is water bottle. Okay, just a simple plastic water bottle that you drink from. The letter E, what animal started with the letter E? And make some kind of picture, cartoonish, strange picture with the word office chair. Office chair. The letter F, what was the animal that started with F? Orange juice is the word. You need to make a picture of your animal with orange juice. The letter G, what was your animal for G? And the word is stapler. Stapler. I just like saying that word, stapler. So think of something with that. The letter H. What animal started with an H? And you need to put it in a sentence with trash can. You can tell these are all things around my office, right? Trash can. I said they were random. Number 9, or letter I. What animal started with an I? Computer. You knew that was coming. Computer. And finally, J. Pencil. Use the word pencil with the animal that started with the letter J. Great, so now you filed all these different random items with your 10 file folders in your mind. Let's see how well it works, okay? What I want to do is, I would like you to get a piece of paper, put it someplace, and I want you to write down, as I give you the letters, write down the item that I told you. You don't have to worry about the animal, just write down the item, the random item that you memorized. And we're gonna see how many you got. Ready? Let's start with A. What was the thing that I told you to memorize with A? Not the animal, just the item. B. Think of your animal. What was it doing? Where did you put him? What's the item for B? C. the animal that started with D, and what was the item? E. How about F? Animal that started with F, what was the item that you had to memorize? G. H. What was your animal and item that went with H? Write down the item. I. The letter I, think of the animal, and what was the item? And J. Think of the animal and write down the item. Now I went fairly quick going through these 10, okay, and I understand that, but I'm doing it on the video and without seeing you, I don't know how long you're taking to think. Some of you are probably waiting for me to finish, some of you are like, oh, that's not enough time. So when you're doing this on your own, take the time you need. The more outlandish the picture, the better it's gonna look. So I'm gonna put all the different items up, and I want you to write down how many you got right, okay? So I'm gonna put the item up here on the screen. So A through J, all the different items. You count how many you got, and I'd like you to write in the comments, the bottom of this exercise, how many you got right. It'd be interesting to see, and everybody else will love to see. You can try it again on your own, take your time, you can pause it. There's no reason why you can't pause my video between each one. And try it on your own and see how you do. I hope you enjoyed the exercise. I'd like to thank you for watching, and have a spectacular day.
Phew. I think he's a good guy, but the algorithm just knew that I was panicking about my exam. This is a temp.
Usha Vance was a role model and aspirational, not just because of her conservative values and, not because of any accomplishment of hers, but because she normalized dating American men. And I'll tell you the truth, one of the reasons I was so disappointed was that I have been very loosely following Zarnagog's career since I saw her live probably 4 years ago at a Ms. Foundation gala, in which there were a bunch of comedians, none of whom, I thought were very funny, except for her. And I was actually really impressed by a middle-aged mom, I'm a middle-aged mom, getting up there on stage and doing her thing. I haven't been closely following her career, but I've have been proud of her from a distance. And then she starred in A Nice Indian Boy, which was a film about a gay son of Indian immigrant parents who gets together with Jonathan Groff. What's not to love there? But Zarna Garg modeled a kind of loving and accepting mom character. And I was
Correct. I don't know what she's talking about.
You want to get paid every.
The body of NBA legend Eldon Campbell has been found on the Florida coast. Yes, the same Eldon Campbell who won a championship ring, played alongside superstars, and anchored the paint with his tenacious defense. Police received a report in the early morning that a male body had been found near the shoreline. The man was unusually tall. As they approached, the silhouette of the figure silenced everyone. The moment the identity was confirmed, the entire team collapsed. No one could imagine that this man, who was unstoppable on the court and had battled against all the top centers in the playoffs, would leave us in this way. Even more bizarrely, police have ruled out a simple accident. The currents, the distance, the timeline, none of it makes sense. The location where the body was found was a full 60 miles away from where he was last seen. His last public appearance was at a private party with friends. Witnesses said he looked troubled. The next day, he completely disappeared. What happened to him in the end? Is the truth more complicated than we've heard? The body of
Masha'Allah. Je trouve ce couple vraiment, vraiment beau. Le footballeur Emmanuel Emega, joueur de Strasbourg, l'attaquant phare de Strasbourg qui a déjà signé un pré-contrat à Chelsea. Et Inès Marez, la sœur du joueur algérien Riyad Mahrez, sont en couple depuis un an. Ils se sont rencontrés en vacances à Marbella et depuis octobre 2024, ils ne se lâchent plus. Ouais, je vais pas faire du pipa, mais moi je les. Ils sont ensemble, ils sont vraiment unis. La famille Marez, c'est un peu une famille américaine. C'est pas des Algériens, c'est une famille américaine. Attention, j'ai rien contre ce couple. Là, j'ai vraiment rien contre ce couple, je la connaissais même pas, Inès Marez. Mais j'ai imaginé le couple, tu sais, quand qui est parti draguer qui. Est-ce qu'elle le connaissait? Est-ce que lui, il la connaissait? Comment ça s'est passé? Moi, je suis footballeur professionnel, il a dû lui dire, et le gars. Elle a dû lui dire, ah bon? Moi, je suis la sœur d'un footballeur professionnel. C'est qui? Ah, mon frère, c'est Riyad Mahrez. Oh, c'est une histoire dingue. Moi, je la trouve dingue. Moi, ce couple est vraiment, vraiment beau. Le footballeur Emmanuel Emega, joueur de Strasbourg, l'attaquant de Strasbourg qui a déjà signé un pré-contrat à Chelsea. Et Inès Marez, la sœur du joueur algérien Riyad Mahrez, sont en couple depuis un an. Ils se sont rencontrés en vacances à Marbella.
Go ahead and cancel the subscription.
This is for the Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan, and the Somalians in Minnesota. See what happened when the leopard eat y'all face? See what happened when y'all thought a white man was gonna take care of y'all? See what happened? Now y'all got CNN, MSNBC, all these news stations coming to your town over what the shit is going on with y'all. Now y'all worried.
There's people in that locker room who really like Mo Salah. Mo Salah has been there for years. There's players that are probably best friends with this guy. They know his family, they know his kids, they know where he lives, they've hung out with him, they enjoy Mo Salah. If Slot did turn his back on Mo Salah, there is no fixing that relationship with these players. There is no coming back. There's no Slot making this right with the players that are left there. There's no making this right. There's levels to this. If Salah is being disrespected in any type of way by Slot or anyone at the club, it is going to be very hard to fix the relationship of what's happening at that club at this point. There's people in that locker room who really like Mo Salah. Mo Salah has been there for years. There's players that are probably best friends with this guy. They know his family, they know his kids, they know where he lives, they've hung out with him, they enjoy Mo Salah. If Slot did turn his back on Mo Salah, there is no fixing that relationship with these players. There is no coming back. There's no Slot making this right with the players that are left there. There's no making.
Now this is Harry, the police PPRO of.
Work for me. You're a sheriff of the county, aren't you?
She said that you weren't a sheriff.
I know. What county does she live in?
Do you have the ability to give me my phone so that I can make
You'll get it when you get to
contact?
What the hell? 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 What the hell happened? What the hell? What the hell, buddy? What the hell, bird? What the hell? 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 Hamas.
Bonjour, bonjour la famille. Comme vous le voyez, c'est the top 3. We are starting to see temperature.
Los triples no tienen nada de la.
When you're set
And do something. It's been so long.
Se me la pude meter la.
Are you enjoying your new Christmas gift? What's your favorite wall?
One of the most pick me go things that you can do as an Asian woman is to cosplay black women.
Ooh.
So much fucking hate for this. And I might delete this video. But I cannot tell you how uncomfortable K-pop makes me. The first time I saw K-pop and listened to my daughter loves
honneur, on doit tuer un animal en son honneur. Pour le manger et faire la fête ensemble.
Bon, ici, une belle idée. Like this. Bon, ici, une belle idée. Like this. Bon, ici, une belle idée. Like this. Bon, ici, une belle idée.
So I turn on Netflix and I'm watching the Sean Diddy Combs, The Reckoning. Then I see.
I appreciate everybody. Y'all already know it's Speed here. Here go the backflip, y'all.
All right, y'all asked, so here it is. This is South Asian. In the middle, we have Sarna. Sarna is what we call the Candace Owens in the black community. She does podcasts, she goes on stage, she talks about conservative values. And she brings her daughter along in these situations. Her daughter put her foot in her mouth yesterday. Her and her daughter did a podcast, and they said this. And the way the South Asian community came up to smash their asses all together was very interesting. Ariana got over here and said, "Sorry, you lost your whole fucking mind. What do you align with when it comes to the community side wanting to cater to white people? You know you on the next list."
Ay, 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 ay.
Ariana said, "I want you spreading this shit to our younger fucking generation, thinking that it's okay to pander to white people just to get a leg up in the world." Ariana directed this directly at Varn and said, "Bitch, you do know what you look like in the mirror, right? You do know what you sound like when you open your mouth. They don't like you." Then HBD got up in here and said, "Girl, do you not know there's three types of South Asians in our community? The ones that only grew up around South trope that we all want to know who you're dating and what job you have and all. Like, that's not. I'm leaving for the airport.
3 hours before the flight.
It is supposed to be there 3 hours before. I don't want that. So what? It is not already checked. Have you ever had a moment in your life when you woke up and you're like, I cannot go on. I cannot go on one more day in this crazy world, in this crazy life, where you felt intense betrayal from somebody you thought had your back?
These are the heaviest suitcases I've ever felt in my entire life.
Mom, try your pet. Wait, how many times I said, we don't do pet. Please, pet is a bad idea.
After 100 years of dealing with men that provided for their families and then became misogynist for it, are we now going to deal for the next 100 years with women that provided for their family and became the equivalent
It's
of
gonna come
misogynists?
with its, yes, the two women in this family created a multi-million-dollar business out of nothing. I want to learn from you, not just nothing, out of asses. Out of asses. Nobody said that. Nobody said that. Do not put words in our mouth. I mean, but if you in the audience think that we have to It's gonna come with its, yes, the two women in this family created a multi-million-dollar business out of nothing. I don't want to learn from you guys. Not just nothing. Rich. Hello, namaste. Auntie Zana here. Guess what? Hello, namaste.
Look, I will say they are expensive shoes, but to be fair, for a one birthday gift, and this is a pair of shoes I will wear for a very long time, it's not that ridiculous.
You are
He is
so.
becoming the definition of a TikTok kid. First, he got the studs and the piercings. Now he's getting the Yeezy boots. He's completing the whole look. He's the fluffy hair. He literally has the whole.
Did you know about this brand before today?
Of course, I knew about this brand. I used to joke about this brand, like, oh my god, can you imagine if somebody we knew?
Hold on. Older sister moment. When you were 13, Bridge, you freaked out when Mom and I got you that Babe sweatshirt. You were obsessed with the Supreme. These were all brands that you were very, very excited to wear at that time. You were exactly Veer's age.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving? World.
Ariana,
Me,
directly asked Lauren and said, bitch, you do know what you look like in the mirror, right?
me, Crystal. Crystal was working at Cinnabon.
Messi
You
fans.
have approved. Go ahead and.
Messi fans.
Greta Thunberg is who Malala thinks she Stay warm.
A woman who, if you ask me as a fan right now, Peter Son, Mohamed Salah, or Arne Slot, I'm picking Mohamed Salah every day of the fucking week and twice on Sundays. Because that man does have the credit. That man does have the hero worship to get an understanding of it. Now, I don't like the way he's gone about it. I don't. But I would side with him every day of the week over Arne Slot right now. Now, he knows what he's doing. He's not a naive man. He knows what he's doing. But I can't help but feel if this ends up in Arne being fired, it's probably for the greater good. Because whatever happens with Cole, we don't know if it's Dean thing.
Ooh, I managed to. What about this one? This one doesn't need to be ironed actually.
If you ask me as a fan right now, to pick a son, Mohamed Salah or Arne Slot, I'm picking Mohamed Salah every day of the fucking week and twice on
This one doesn't need
That man does have the credit. That man does have the hero worship to get an understanding of it. Now, I don't like the way he's gone about it. I don't. But I would side with him every day of the week over Arne Slot right now. Now, he knows what he's doing. He's not a naive man. He knows what he's doing. But I can't help but feel if this ends up in Arne being fired, it's probably for the greater good. Because whatever happens with Mo, we don't know if his legs are gone. We don't know if it's a team If you ask me as a fan right now to pick a side, Mohamed Salah or Arne Slot, I'm picking.
In your hand.
Bam.
Finalement, sur l'histoire, c'est. J'ai vu plus de 8 vidéos.
Oui les amis, bonjour, j'espère que vous allez bien. Moi, part ça va. À ce qui paraît, les Américains ont envoyé quelques soldats américains au Nigeria. Et puis voilà, ce monsieur pose une préoccupation ici à laquelle nous allons répondre.
Cualquiera puede ganar, nunca uno está perdido por más perdiendo que esté.
Es que a lo mejor no.
El punto es que el chiste es en respuesta que era opcional.
I don't know. I think majority of these people, you cannot trust them. How you get?
Spent billions of dollars funding the NGO industrial complex while close and
I am going to tell you something today that I never thought I would say on this show. I have now been warned multiple times by immigration lawyers that I should not leave the country at this time. Let me explain. I'm a naturalized U.S. citizen. Many people maybe don't know that. I have been a citizen of the United States since I was, I think, 16 or so years old. So went through the entire process legally. My family moved to the United States legally, obtained permanent residency. Ultimately, my parents got citizenship as an under 18 son of naturalized citizens. I was able to get citizenship by going to the post office and filling out a passport application. And then that was decades ago. And here I am in 2025 being told that even with my citizenship, it might be risky to travel internationally under this second Trump administration because of what might happen when I get back. Now, I'm not going to pretend, I might be deported. They're going to rip up my passport. It's not about that. But the idea is that coming back might be unpredictably uncomfortable or uncomfortably unpredictable because we've already seen reports of U.S. citizens detained at the border. We've seen U.S. citizens held and questioned for hours without even being told why. We've seen a spike in the stories from folks who are dual nationals or have names that look or sound foreign, or maybe they speak with an accent. Stories of those folks being pulled aside, treated like suspects.
All right, guys.
Country's border. And what immigration attorneys
What's happening, guys? Are you guys still here, or you guys are still
is that naturalized
sleeping?
citizens, people like me, in Trump's second term, with the return of these Stephen Miller style policies, we just need to be careful. Some are saying if you leave, have legal representation lined up, know exactly which immigration lawyer you will call, and that they will be available to take your call in case you
So that means people like me, right?
So you mean they made a dating event for two?
Look at what the military is doing to his excellency.
Appreciating their time more. I wasn't always like available.
Zarna Garg's daughter got on a podcast with her mom, and yes, she said she loves Usha because she makes it okay to have conservative viewpoints. Okay, like many other people who have said great things, I'll link them below about that, who I love, and I don't need to talk about that. But what I cannot get over personally is her saying she makes it okay and normal to date Americans. Girl, what? Every Indian boy I ever dated was American. My Puerto Rican husband's family was American well before Trump's family. So, girl, if you mean white, just say white, right? Like, she makes it okay to date white guys. But also, just to clarify, Usha Vance, 5 years younger than me, and I grew up in an era where tons of people of our culture dated outside of our culture.
I'm not here to waste your time, but I just want to show you.
Little remote.
If they go for screen,
Little control.
Most people don't know this.
If your straps, it's
Kémy Séba défie les autorités du Bénin en publiant une vidéo du colonel Tigri. Étant donné que les autorités du Bénin avaient publié comme quoi qu'ils ont repris le contrôle tout simplement, le président est en sécurité, tout allait bien, et que voilà, ceux qui avaient essayé de faire coup d'État au Bénin ont été arrêtés. Sauf que derrière,
Yo guys, what's happening? Everybody's sleeping tonight, right? I need to sleep. Me myself, I need to go out and sleep too. What is the best movie of the year, guys? Can anyone tell me what movie is the number one movie of 2025? Atum. Mm-hmm. 1996, bro. (1996). Is there anyone from 1996? Anyone born in 1996? Fiji water. The Gotham Award. What is the Gotham Award? Let me ask my assistant what is. Hey there.
Hey there. Great to have you here. Let me know what's on your mind or how I can help out today.
Yeah, okay, let me ask you this. What is the Gotham Award?
The Gotame Award. That one's a bit of a fictional curveball because it doesn't actually exist in real life, at least not in any official or widely recognized.
You're talking a lot, bro. I would just. The Gotham Award. Is it Gotham pronunciation? So I was asking, what is the Gotham Award? Gotham, is that Gotham?
Got it. So you're actually asking about the term Gotame. It's not something super mainstream.
No,
but
no. I'm asking about there's an award called Gotham. Is it Gotham Award? Gotham Award.
Oh, Gotham Awards. Gotcha. Thanks for the spelling there. The Gotham Awards are actually a pretty well-known set of awards in the indie film world. They're given out annually in New York City, and they celebrate the best in independent film and television. So if you hear about the Gotham Awards, it's basically like the indie film community's chance to shine.
Okay. Is it important? Is it a big one?
Absolutely. In the indie film world, it's actually a pretty big deal. The Gotham Awards kind of kick off the whole award season, and they're known for spotlighting some of the best independent films and creators out there. Winning or even just being nominated can definitely give a film or a filmmaker a nice boost and a lot of recognition. So yeah, in that sphere, it's definitely important.
All right. Thank you again.
You're very welcome. Anytime you have more questions, just let me know. I've been streaming for almost an hour now. This one is gonna go, and then this one 12 people.
Yeah, that's right. Why would you waste time on jail and fee? You finished all that.
Yes.
Okay guys, I'm gonna go and do some exercise, and then I'm gonna come back, and we shall see what will happen when I come back. Hopefully the exercise is gonna go well. Peace, and I'm out.